Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy coming to you from our studios in Abuja. It's our closing moments now with Bishop Matthew Kukah. In a sermon delivered at the burial of late Bishop Joseph Bagobiri of Kaduna Diocese, Bishop Kukah spoke about the work his center, the Kukah Center for Faith and Leadership, had done in trying to mediate the farmers-herdsmen clashes, particularly in Kaduna, where he's from. But what did they find out was the root cause of the conflict? Is it, as the president has explained, external influences, or were they mostly local?
The tragedy with all this is that nobody has really been profiled. There aren't many people that have been on trial. And this is really the province of the Ministry for Internal Affairs. They regulate the movements of people into Nigeria. My findings, and the Kukah Center undertook some work in Southern Kaduna, and we deliberately spent some time. We did Southern Kaduna, we also did the Northeast, because we were concerned with the fact that in Nigeria people die in numbers. They just tell you 300 people died. Do they have names? Don't they have families? What were they doing? So we spent a lot of time just going through and taking people's records and saying, look, this person died age 5, this person died, he was a farmer, this person died, he was a woman. And I'm interested in this because that's what guarantees the future, because how people remember is very important. Now, our findings were also very interesting. But let me tell you something. In my little village, we have a group of Fulanis who live with us. And there was a day, some incident happened. Somebody, one stray kid, went and lit up one of their huts. And guess what? They ran to my brother, who is a traditional ruler, and they then were looking for shelter. He didn't have enough space in his house. I have a small place in the village, and I told them, I said, look, go and open the place. They went to the place, they found the door was locked. I said, break the door and let them enter. They stayed the night there for security. I have Fulani children who are on my scholarship. I have a young boy, he just graduated. He's finishing his NYSC. I said, Fulani, he's a Fulani boy. I started paying his school fees. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know his parents. At the level of interpersonal relationship, we don't have a problem. And every community, this is what I found out. The empirical evidence that I found out, and the data is testable. Because I sat down with people, I spoke with them, and everybody will tell you very clearly, in Southern Kaduna, and I'm sure in other places, the Fulanis we are living with. What they know, we don't know. Who is killing on their behalf, we don't know. But it will be tragic, and it also speaks to the tragedy of our country. That people think that if 50 Fulanis died, then it's of no use, I shouldn't worry about it. And that if they tell you 20 Christians have died, I shouldn't be of concern to me because I'm a Muslim. If they tell you 300 Shiites were killed, you shouldn't, why should anybody worry? And when I speak about these things, I hear people say to me, what is your own? They are Muslim, they didn't kill themselves now, which is your concern? And I'm saying, the day we lose a sense of our common humanity, we're no longer human beings. So for me, I found that in Southern Kaduna, just like in other places, 99.9% of the ordinary people, Fulani, Southern Kaduna people, Baju, Ikulu, everybody told me the same story. We have no problem with the Fulanis who are living with us. We are living together, we're still playing together, we're doing things together. That is the reality.
So what is the problem? What is causing all of these killings? I mean, in Benue, for instance, now you have over 170,000 displaced people. In Taraba the other day, you heard, I'm sure you also did, from a Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.Y. Danjuma, saying there is an attempted ethnic cleansing, asking people to defend themselves, that the army wasn't neutral, and all of this in a conflict that seems to, have defied solution. Well, what is going on?
It's a good question. And if the government is going to waste time telling us about the names of looters, as opposed to focusing on issues of human survival, that is that up till today, we do not have a comprehensive list or even a comprehensive attempt to really understand what is happening. And that government has allowed guesswork, prejudice, stereotyping, to define a conflict that is consuming thousands of innocent people. I'm sorry, but it speaks to the quality of the issues that are on the ground and those who govern us, and whether they are interested in us as ordinary human beings. Because where we are now, ask yourself, If an American were to be in Nigeria and he went to a brothel, I'm sorry to say, he went to a brothel and somehow he died in a brothel, you think the Americans will worry about the fact that he died in a brothel? Nigeria will pay for it and it will give an account of why this American has died. Now, it's only in this country they tell you, oh, a Nigerian was caught somewhere, was killed somewhere. The first question Nigeria is, waiting, carry and go yourself. So, you know, this culture of our collective display of literally a conscience that is dead suggests to me that first of all, we've not placed premium on human life. Because I do not know where else in the world that you can say this number of people died. And you know, we're just going on as if everything is normal. So this is why I'm saying that the quality of politics and politicking that we are engaged in has no redemption, because it doesn't suggest to me that those who govern us have taken inventory of what our problems are and how to hold our people together.
But I am interested in what you found. I mean, it is a fact that people died in southern Kaduna. What was the problem? What caused the deaths from what you heard? Well, again, as you know, I've read most of the reports of the crises that have happened in Nigeria from when this whole thing began in 1987. I've read most of the reports. You have a situation, which is what T.Y. Danjuma reflected. Namely, how did we come to a point in which the security agencies can no longer be trusted? And if you ask that question, the answer is very simple. Can you join the police force? Can you join the army? Can you join any of the security agencies today based on just your incredible intelligence? People tell you openly, nobody's going to take you until you come from a big man. And if you're in this position, your legacy has to be the number of people you've left while you are in power. So you now have even the military that ought to be the symbolic guarantee of our security. Just like every other part of Nigeria. They've become corrupted by ethnicity, and everybody is a victim of various kinds of cleavages. So tell us then, what did you recommend? Almost every conflict in the last 3 years came down to, according to what we heard, farmers and herdsmen. Okay, was that really the situation? It's a generic concept. If you ask, in Ghana, there was a war among a group called the Nunumba and the Kukumba. What happened? Oh, they were fighting over a chicken. The average conflict, they will tell you what happened. Oh, somebody was passing through somebody's farm and this is what happened. And this is the point I'm making. If a government does not understand the rural dynamics, how people are pained, okay, the things that they feel injured by. Because if you leave that to chance, people will remember things differently. That is, they will say, okay, at this last crisis, 30 of our people died. Okay, the next one, we're going to prepare very well to make sure that they suffer a higher loss than us. This is what has been happening. So if you go to Southern Kaduna, the truth of the matter is that nobody will ever tell you that this is why this happened. People were just sleeping in their homes and they were slaughtered in the middle of the night. Now, how are you going to say what is the cause? They never had a quarrel with anybody. They know that those who have killed them, and this is the story of what you may call the Fulani herdsmen. Again, we've used that, it's a bit of an oxymoron because it doesn't say anything. That Fulani herdsmen clash. Okay, but what does it suggest? Now, and I'm saying this crisis is tied to what we call the legal status of land. That is, who owns land in Nigeria. That's what it's tied to. That's all it's tied to. In a sense, but land is owned by the, federal government doesn't own land, it's owned by the governors. Are you optimistic that this crisis will come to an end? I am optimistic, but I'm not encouraged by the signals I see because, if you have leprosy, you cannot sit and tell me, am I optimistic I will be cured? No, the first thing to do is to go to a doctor. And I'm saying government doesn't have to know everything. But if government believes that it knows everything, and you have policemen who look like you and think like you, and you have security men who are answerable to you, and we have a recruiting system that is so skewed that it lacks the capacity to manage the diversities of this country, then you're going to have what you have. Well, Bishop Matthew Herdsmen Kukah, thank you for coming on Hard Copy. My pleasure. Thank you very much at last. And And that wraps it up for Hard Copy this week. But it's never over till we hear from you. The handles on your screen are the addresses we use. Well, thank you for watching tonight. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.